Often the first thing I'll put in a spreadsheet is a title, and I like to have my title at the top left corner. Now notice that your Excel spreadsheet is filled with all of these little rectangles called cells. In each of these cells is a place where you can store information. Right now there's a little green outline around the cell at the top left corner. That means that if I were to type something, that's where the data would go. If I click on one of those other cells, the green outline moves. And that means if I start typing, my data will go there instead. Your spreadsheet has a lot of cells in it. Actually, it has over 1,000,000 rows of them and over 16,000 columns. That means there needs to be some way of keeping track of where we are. Excel and other spreadsheets use a sort of coordinate system so that you can tell which cell you're working in. The coordinate system uses those letters at the top of each of these columns of cells and the numbers going down the left-hand side. Together, the letter and the number identify the cell. So right now, I'm in C4. On the other hand, if I click here, now I'm in E7. Of course, I want my title in A1, so I'll click there. To enter data, just start typing. Don't worry if you make a mistake. If that happens, just press your backspace key to erase the mistake and then type the correction. Once you're finished, press the Enter key to complete the entry. By the way, if you press Enter and then see you made a mistake, just click on the cell again and type over the entry and you can put in the correct data. Or you can press the Delete key to remove the entry completely. I'm not crazy about how this title looks though. I'd like it to look more like a title, so I'm going to change its appearance or formatting. To do that, I need to use the commands at the top of the Excel screen. That's what all of these buttons and drop-down arrows are for. Let's pause for a moment and take a quick look at this. This part of the screen is called the ribbon, and it contains pretty much everything you'll need to do in Excel. There are so many commands here that it's divided into sections called tabs. Now by default, you're on the Home tab, and in this version of Excel I can tell because it has a green underline, but depending on your version, there will be something else that the program does to make sure that you know which tab you're on. To go to a different tab, you click on that tab's name. The commands for changing the appearances of cells are on the Home tab, so we need to go back there if we're going to make those changes. Now to change the appearance of A1, we'll click on it or select it. Then in the Font section of the Home tab, maybe we'll click the drop-down list of typefaces, or fonts they're called, and choose something a little bit more interesting. A title might look better bold, so we'll click the B for bold. Maybe click the drop-down list of numbers and pick a larger size. And finally choose a different color for the text. Next, let's go to A3 and put in a label for the total number of days that we have available. We'll also want to break that down by hours, so we'll put in a label underneath it that says total hours. Remember, in each case, finish your entry by pressing the Enter key. Next, we'll go back to each of those cells and select it and boldface that. We won't change any of the other formats this time. We'll just make it boldface. Notice that the entries are a little bit too wide for the cell. You see how the text extends past the border of A3 and A4? That might be a problem later on, so let's make column A a little wider so that it can accommodate all of that. To do that, position your mouse between the labels at the top, between the A and the B, and you're looking for your mouse to turn into a vertical bar with a left and right arrow. And when you see that, click and drag it to the right to make the column wider. Once again, I'd like to invite you to pause for a moment before going on to the next segment and catch up with what we've done so far. When you're ready, we'll finish our data entry and do a little bit more formatting.